The Blue Plaque Award is an international program that celebrates the links between important people or events and the buildings to which they were connected. The Heritage Stratford Committee is pleased to award blue plaques in our community. The 2025 Blue Plaque is awarded to 108 Mornington Street for this house's connection to Sir Alec Guinness. Originally built as the rectory for St. James Anglican Church in 1876, you can see the bricks match in both buildings. The house continued in this capacity until the mid-80s. During the 50s, Reverend Francis G. Lightbourne and his wife Marion lived in the home. While Alec Guinness was here for the first season of the Stratford Festival, he stayed in this home. He was born on April 2, 1914 as Alec Guinness de Cuff in Maida Vale, London to Agnes Cuff. He attended Fay Compton Studio of Dramatic Art, and his first job was writing advertising copy. In 1934, he got his first theater job with a walk-on role in the play Libel. He eventually moved to an understudy role with 2 lines and a salary of £2 a week. By 1936, he was playing the role of Osric in John Gielgud's production of Hamlet. After that, he played in a series of roles at the Old Vic, where he met many actors and actresses who became friends and future colleagues. An early influence was Stan Laurel. Guinness continued to play many Shakespearean roles throughout the 1930s, including Romeo in a production of Romeo and Juliet, Malvolio in Twelfth Night, and as Exeter in Henry V, both opposite Laurence Olivier, as well as Ferdinand in The Tempest opposite Gielgud as Prospero. In 1938, Alec Guinness married playwright and actress Marula Sylvia Salomon. They had a son, Matthew, in 1940, who also became an actor. During World War II, Guinness joined the Royal Navy Volunteer Reserve. He served as a temporary sub-lieutenant and later a lieutenant, commanding a landing craft infantry at the Allied invasion of Sicily and serving in the Eastern Mediterranean Theater. During this time, he planned to become an Anglican priest. In 1946, Guinness returned to the Old Vic and other theaters to play a variety of plays, including Richard II, An Inspector Calls, The Cocktail Party, and Hamlet. It was at this time his film career began. He performed in many films, notably Kind Hearts and Coronets, where he played 8 roles, The Mudlark, The Bridge on the River Kwai, for which he won an Oscar for Best Actor, Dr. Zhivago, and Lawrence of Arabia. He also had a long association making films with David Lean. The British Film Institute included 5 of these films in their 50 Greatest British Films of the 20th Century. In 1953, Tyrone Guthrie invited Guinness to perform in the season premiere of the Stratford Festival of Canada. On July 13, 1953, Guinness spoke the first lines on the festival stage in Shakespeare's Richard III. Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by the son of York. In an interview with the Toronto Star, Alec Guinness commented, "It was a miracle it ever happened," he says today. "We rehearsed in a dreadful tin-roofed hall. Every bird in the world flew in and twittered. Every raindrop which fell crashed loudly on the roof. That the production and the theater were ever ready was due largely to an act of faith." Known mostly to Canadians for his film roles at that time, Guinness told CBC Radio in a 1953 interview that he welcomed the change because to plunge back into Shakespeare is like taking a very refreshing cold bath. "Like most English actors, I was trained in Shakespeare at the Old Vic. An actor needs not only changes of material to keep himself fresh, but differences of method. Shakespeare provides that in a superb way. It seemed to me a splendid project and one to be encouraged, and a good way to promote goodwill between English and Canadian actors, as I most sincerely hope it will." In a 2001 Maclean's interview with actors Timothy Findlay and William Hutt about their time working with Guinness in Stratford, Findlay said, "Alec had incredible concentration. He could arrive at what a role might be about by going to an art gallery or visiting someone's grave. I did these things with him. He taught you how to explore your life as an artist through the lives of other artists who might not be necessarily in your discipline." William Hutt said, "He had enormous care with the language, whether Shakespearean or not, and his gestures were breathtaking. His Richard III was very subtle, very sly in its humor, suggestive in its body language." In 1954, Guinness participated in the National Film Board documentary The Stratford Adventure, which told the story of the beginning of the festival. The film won an Oscar. Local resident Georgina Cameron was a child in the summer of 1953 and remembers playing with other children at the Optimist Playground. A man walked by each day and chatted with them in a Canadian accent. They never realized who he was until they went to see a film and recognized him. Georgina can still remember her friends' faces when they realized who they had been talking to all summer. She says Guinness was a very unassuming man. Alec Guinness was a consummate professional who was greatly admired by his peers. He generously mentored young actors and was demanding with them and of himself. He was always a gentleman. In 1959, Queen Elizabeth knighted Guinness for his services to the arts. Of course, in 1977, he played the role of Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars. He was foresightful enough to have asked for a percentage of the film's royalties, as well as a guarantee only he would play his iconic role. Although he did write in his diary, it's a pretty staggering film, a spectacle, and technically brilliant. Exciting, very noisy, and warm-hearted. The battle scenes at the end go on for 5 minutes too long, I feel, and some of the dialogue is excruciating and much of it lost in noise, but it remains a vivid experience. He also noted that he appreciated the film because it enabled him to live quite comfortably. His co-actors commented on his courtesy and professionalism. This film introduced Guinness to a whole new generation. In 1996, his former home in Maida Vale was given a British Blue Plaque. On August 5, 2000, Alec Guinness died in hospital of cancer. His wife Marula died 2 months later, also of cancer. Sir Alec Guinness was a giant of an actor who thrilled audiences on stage and in films. His contribution to the birth of the Stratford Festival was immense and helped to create one of Canada's leading theatres. We in Stratford owe him a debt of gratitude.